So any company, really, the lower the margin, the bigger the opportunity it is for them to make a material change in their business.
Interesting. Hmm.
Right. So in order to get that 100% earnings bump for Walmart and Target, they needed about 35% of their workforce in bots, whereas Kroger only needed about 20%. So this has the opportunity to turn low margin companies into much more attractive profit machines.
They're the ones going to be more desperate, and they're probably going to contact Tesla as fast as possible. Yep.
If their CFO and their CEOs are aware, yes, they should.
Hmm.
Yep. So from here, then we turned our attention to, what would be the cost to make a humanoid bot, and Scott Walter and others did some good work on this, and we got down into the range of $8 to $10,000 per humanoid, which was interesting because on a weight basis, Optimus is about 3% of the Model 3. On a battery pack weight basis, it's about 3%, and certainly the overall weight. But the cost is probably about 25 to 30 to 35% of a Model 3. So still, it's much higher than 3% of the Model 3's cost. There's also going to be some complexity in terms of, the hands. Um, can they make enough actuators to be able to scale this up? There's still a few unanswered questions here, but there's no really crazy sort of manufacturing complexity that's going to hold them back once they really start to make humanoid bots.
Hmm. Yeah, I think this is a fantastic analysis because thank you guys for actually breaking it down to component costs. I think the only consideration, right, is that many of these things are not off the shelf, right? Tesla's
Mhm.
Elon has said that so many times. They had to invent them, had to create
Yep.
them. They're just bespoke to this particular product, and so that's why the R&D costs, the initial design, and it's all done by hand. It's going to be incredibly expensive, 300,000 per bot, and then that's why it'll take time for them to finally get it down to these actual costs. But the point being that they're small, simple things. It's just, but it's more intricate of how to put together like a
Yeah.
cell phone, and it just takes time for them to figure this out.
Well, and speaking of cell phones, on the next page, there's a chart here that shows the ramp in Apple iPhone shipments from 2007 when the phone was introduced. So in that first
Okay.
year, they
Yeah.
produced 3.7 million of them,
Hmm.
and then they ramped up to 13 million, and then 25, and then 50, and then almost 100.
Hmm.
So Apple ramped up the production of smartphones pretty quickly, and then they got to a point where they were producing a couple hundred million, a bit more than that, and that was enough. My conclusion in looking at all this is the industry will produce enough at some point. They'll get to enough capacity at some point to meet the demand that's there. Now, it may take 7 or 8 years, may take 10 years, but that's still a very quick ramp, and it's likely to be fairly quick in the humanoid bot space as well. In the auto industry, the largest automakers make 10 to 11 million vehicles a year. The whole industry makes between, let's say, 70 and 90 million vehicles. Um, again, that the industry makes enough vehicles to meet the demand. The cell phone industry makes enough phones to meet the demand, and the humanoid bot industry will make enough to meet the demand.